About the planet you are standing on right now? Well, you should. In a recent survey which questioned 1,025 U.S. adults in early March, Americans reported feeling most concerned about drinking polluted water and least worried about global warming. In 1989, 35% of men and women surveyed said that they cared a great deal about climate change, but only 32% said the same thing in 2015. Even when it came to polluted water, just 55% of Americans reported caring a great deal, down from 65% in 1990. The Gallup survey released in 2010 shows Americans were more concerned about the environment in the late 1980s and 1990s, but interest dropped off in the early 2000s. Since then, it's remained at historic lows, and when it comes to global warming specifically, Americans are no more worried now than they were in the 1990s. Today, I will talk to you how we should save our environment. First, I will say how we can fix it. Then I'll tell you how we can regulate the types of energies that are being used. Then how we can ban some methods of getting resources. Then I'll tell you why we need to stop doing some of these things. We are good people at heart and we need to care for our planet. How to fix the earth. First, we will start by using more renewable resources such as wind, solar, and water power. Increasing the supply of renewable energy would allow us to replace carbon and intensive energy sources and significantly reduce the global warming emissions. For example, in 2009, a UCS analysis found that 25% by 2025 national renewable electricity standard would be lower power plant CO2 emissions by 277 metric tons annually by 2025, equivalent to the annual output from 70 typical 600 milliwatt new coal plants. First, we need to find a cheap and easy way to use water energy that doesn't kill marine life or their habitat. The government of a country will often encourage the construction of dams in order to generate electrical power, control flooding, enable irrigation, increase shipping, or a combination of all these things. Developers and speculators will campaign for these dams in order to dry up large areas of floodplain, creating new real estate. Government institutions that are accustomed to being in the business of damming have historically campaigned for the new dams as well. Now we need to regulate some types of energy. We will start by reducing the experts and work to analyze practical, cost-effective strategies for lowering America's coal use. We have consistently demonstrated that closing down the dirtiest coal-fired power plants would not adversely affect the reliability of our electrical supply nor would it significantly increase the cost of electricity for consumers. We need to put more windmills up, given that a fully functional wind turbine produces 1.8 kilowatts of power in a 20-mile-per-hour wind. To put that in the context, that's just under 1,300 kilowatt hours a month. For comparison's sake, we use approximately 600 kilowatt hours of electricity last month. This included a particularly vicious cold period when temperatures sunk below zero for a period. We will ban the bad methods of using energy. It's unacceptable that the oil and gas industry profits off fracking are expensive. It's time to say no to fracking and yes to clean and renewable energy. Protect your water and environment from fracking. Sign a petition to ban fracking and keep fossil fuels in the ground. We will use better mining techniques. Longwall mining is used most effectively in uniform coal seams of medium height 42 to 60 inches as the room and pillar method. Longwall mining starts with sets of entries into panel areas. The difference between the technique lies between the distance of these sets entries method to extracting the intervening coal. We need to keep the earth from dying. For those that don't know, caring about the environment doesn't require you to become an environmental activist. It just care for the environment. It doesn't require the environment and make up eco-conscious decisions. As someone who cares is aware and is concerned, I'd like to help you understand what you would like to say about our environment. Our environment is a place where humans as well as plants and animals live. Keeping it clean is our responsibility. It is necessary to keep our environment clean because we get fresh air, reduce pollution, etc. An unclean environment leads to a bad condition of society. Arrival of diseases and many more things. Today I told you how to keep the planet safe. First I told you how we could save the planet. Then I told you a cheap way to do it. Then how we could regulate some types of non-renewable resources. Then I told you about putting windmills up. Then I told you about some of the banking methods. Then I told you about using better mining techniques to reduce pollution. And finally, I told you why our environment is so important for our future. So I leave you with this advice from Steve Jobs. Be a yardstick of quality. Some people haven't used an environment where excellence is expected.